Right. News in terms of a potential move here for Manchester United's Jadon Sancho to join Juventus have been described as positive. However, there is still work to do to find an agreement on a fee and, more significantly, on personal terms. Juventus are pushing to sign Sancho, and there appears to be a willingness from all parties to get a deal done. United, though, would prefer a permanent deal. It appears that it is the wages that are going to be a stumbling block as to that.
Manchester United, completely different scene at this club, isn't it, Tamesh? Jadon Sancho looking for a way out. Will he?
I mean, if everyone has their way, I think Jadon Sancho won't be a Manchester United player come the start of next season. And the team that are really pushing at the moment are Juventus. Now, talks over a potential move from Manchester United to Juventus for Jadon Sancho have been described to me as positive at this stage. However, there is still work to do to find an agreement between clubs, between Juventus and Manchester United, and possibly more significantly between the Jadon Sancho himself and his representatives and Juventus because of the personal term situation. Now, Juventus are pushing, and there appears to be a willingness from all parties to strike a deal over Jadon Sancho. As far as Juventus are concerned, they are definitely in the market for a winger. That's because they've so far failed to find an agreement with Francisco Conceição. He's a player that joined on a straight loan for the season from Porto last summer. He actually extended that stay for a little while so he could play in the Club World Cup. He started against Real Madrid last night. However, Juventus and Porto, while they've been negotiating on a fee, there's a big gap in valuation. Hence why Juventus have probably turned their attentions for now onto Jadon Sancho.
Right.
Sancho himself is understood to be open to the move after failing to agree terms. We go back to those personal terms again with Chelsea, because remember, Chelsea had an obligation to buy Jadon Sancho after his loan spell, but they wanted to renegotiate his contract. Basically, he was getting paid what they didn't want to pay at Manchester United. But as a result of them not taking up the obligation, they were forced to pay a £5 million penalty to Manchester United. We think the asking price is around £25 million, which is what they were willing to sell him to Chelsea for, and what Juventus would probably have to pay if they wanted to bring him in. However, given Sancho's wages, I don't think you can fully rule out another loan move.
Jadon Sancho's future at Manchester United remains in serious doubt, with the club actively looking to offload him this summer. After returning from a short-term loan at Borussia Dortmund, where he showed flashes of improvement, Sancho was not reintegrated into the United squad. New manager Ruben Amorim reportedly has no plans to include him in his system, and United are eager to remove both his high wages and lingering off-field issues from the dressing room. Sancho's public fallout with Erik ten Hag last season and his hefty £300,000 per week salary have only complicated matters. Despite interest from clubs like Juventus, Napoli, and several Saudi Pro League sides, negotiations have stalled over financial concerns. Sancho's wage demands remain a major stumbling block, with most suitors unwilling to match his current salary. United, for their part, are pushing for a permanent deal rather than another loan, further narrowing his options. There are reports that Sancho may now be open to lowering his salary expectations to facilitate a move, particularly to Italy, where Juventus are reportedly preparing new talks for a potential £25 million transfer. With pre-season approaching, United are under pressure to sort Sancho's situation quickly. The club needs to clear his wages to help fund new signings and stay within financial regulations. Sancho, still under contract but without a place in the squad, finds himself in limbo. Unless a club meets United's asking price and wages are adjusted, he could be left training separately again, unwanted by the club, but too expensive to move easily. A resolution is expected soon, but for now, Sancho's time at Old Trafford remains all but over.